And we are live. This is Beyond the Buzzer live here on Facebook Live, Zingo Television, which is on Blackjack TV channel 198, Facebook Live, YouTube, and everywhere you hear the sound of my voice. I am your host, Danny Thompson, checking with you live tonight. And for those who've never seen this show, shame on you, because you should know the guy to the right of me. Yes, the right of me himself. He is part of the three-point conversion. He's a student of the game, our resident UCF expert, my tag team partner, and if we were a wrestling combo, he'd be the one doing the finishing move while I'm doing the setup. My main man, Mr. Kyle Nash. How you doing, my friend?
That's high praise. That's high praise. What on earth would the name of that finishing move be? Like the late dismissal. Class dismissed. Oh no, man! Listen, I had a teasing opening too, like with the Christmas Carol and celebrating. But we could say that for next week, man. That's great.
Hey, listen. I mean, the thing is, though, people don't understand. Like the night that me and Kyle have on the show is like we're like this in real life. Like we just don't act this way on the show. Like Kyle and I, we have this brother type, this type of brotherhood that's really different, and it's a beautiful thing to realize. And we've grown this. Not just over the show, we've grown it over years. So that's why this show is so dadgum entertaining. And Kyle has his drink of choice tonight, and of course I'm drinking next to nothing. All right. So for those who want to watch the show, follow it on Facebook, YouTube Live, and anything else. Also, big shout outs to our friends at Valor, as you see over the top of my left-hand shoulder, at ITS, at VALOUR.us for all things marketing, social media, and to Kyle's favorite, gifts.
Yes.
Also, their good friends at Mentality Barbershop, 2611 Pine Hills Road, out in Orlando, Florida. My main man, our main man, Dio, and the entire crew of that. I forgot, and Corey Lamar, the entire team over at Mentality Barbershop.
Been Kyle, that long, have you? You're forgetting.
I know. Shoot me, punch me, do what you need to. All right, so Kyle,
Cromartie bad. You're good. Whatever.
Listen. You know what? I can't be. You can crack all the jokes you want to because 'twas the day before NBA training camp, and all through the house, teams were stirring, except for Anthony Davis. So, why do I say that? By the way, NBA training camp starts tomorrow, and the biggest free agent of the class hasn't even signed yet. Anthony Davis is still a free agent technically right now because they haven't started contract negotiations between Davis and the Los Angeles Lakers as camp opens up for most teams tomorrow. What does that mean for everything? What's up, Ty? Big shout out to his show, Say What Again, Say Again Sports. I think it's Wednesday nights on Facebook Live. Check them out. And if you're on the show, give Ty a shout out and please yell at Avery as much as you want to. He's a Giants fan. What more do you want me to say?
He's got enough pain.
Listen, he really does. But at the same time, Anthony Davis is not in camp, and the Lakers are still really not worried. What we do know is that Anthony Davis will re-sign with the Lakers. We just don't know for how long, but we do know it's going to be a max contract. Unfortunately, this is technically Kyle, the holdout of all non-holdouts. He's committed to the Lakers. Nobody can sign him, but he still hasn't signed anything yet. Yes, my man wanted in the chat. If you're on Facebook Live, YouTube, or any of the streams that actually are watching the show, and you want to post a comment on there, by all means, do so. We want you, like Juan just did, like Ty just did. The Giants are in first place, and we'll talk NFL later on. But Kyle, this is the most weird free agency period of all time. We only had 17 days of free agency. Right. Anthony Davis still has his sign, but it's not like there's a laundry list of teams trying to chase this man because nobody can sign Anthony Davis at this point.
They cannot. Yes.
No, but how funny is it you have the top yes, Tuesday nights. But Kyle, how funny is it to see the top free agent knowing he's going to sign and hasn't signed 12 hours before training camp opens?
I mean, isn't that the ultimate in the opening flex, right? Like, I'm here, but I'm going to stay here and get as much money as I want. Like that's clearly, and hey, welcome to 2020. And the pandemic, am I right? Just the whole situation with the shortened off season, Anthony Davis, the Lakers, and what many listen in the regular season, and I was among them. I would not have thought the Lakers would have won, yet they did. Bubble basketball made that a thing. So much that's unexpected. Why the hell not? This, in my mind, Danny Thompson, is probably the least crazy thing. I shouldn't say the least crazy, but it's kind of like being in a situation after a while, the hits just all kind of feel the same. You're like, sure, why not? You know what I mean?
It's the funniest thing I've ever seen because you would want all your players in camp.
Right.
You want them day one. Look at Charlotte and LaMelo Ball. Breaking news into the show: LaMelo Ball has officially signed a 4-year deal with the Charlotte Hornets. His rookie contract under his rookie scale. It was reported by Rock Nation's Raymond Brothers, who's his agent, Rock Nation Sports. Check out the rest of the article on 3pointconversion.com within the next 5 minutes or so. But LaMelo Ball is the first rookie to be in camp. Okay, the Hornets are ready to go. I mean, they just got Gordon Hayward, and he'll be introduced to the media tomorrow. Check out more information. I'll be at the press conference tomorrow. But Kyle, in a season where training camp's only 21 days, preseason starts December 11th. Okay. Right. It's a weird preseason because every team is playing a minimum of 2 games. Some are playing 2, like Brooklyn, and some are playing 4, like Atlanta and Charlotte, for example. They're compacting preseason in literally 8 days. Like they did the off season. This is a microwavable preseason. Every day in camp every day in camp has to be important. Now I know Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and they know what they have to do. They know exactly what they have to do. It's pretty much just make sure you get to the playoffs and destroy everybody in the playoffs. But I wonder what kind of shape Anthony Davis is still in just after finishing the finals. It seemed like last week the way the NBA season ended.
Right. I mean, do you worry about shape for guys that have been playing for this long, Danny? I mean, that's my first question. Like, first of all, I get not wanting to set the market, but I'll put it this way. I know that AD isn't in year 17 or 18 or however long LeBron's been in, but at this point, what is he going to get out of camp anyway other than staying sharp? And if you've just won a championship, how out of shape would you actually be at this point? That would be my question.
Well, I mean, if you ask some Laker fans, his back must be in trouble because to some Laker fans, Anthony Davis carried the Lakers the entire season, like LeBron James didn't exist.
I see what you did there.
I did. I think this is kind of an important camp for the Lakers, and I'll say it for this reason. The Lakers have new faces. Garner guys like Dwight Howard, garner guys like Rajon Rondo, guys that play, Avery Bradley, guys that played key roles in his Laker team is no longer there. You're bringing in pieces like Dennis Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell, Marc Gasol. You're bringing in new faces in new places, and you kind of want the gel to kind of work a little bit. I get Anthony Davis taking the time off, but man, this is borderline arrogant. You're like, you know what? Forget trade camp. I'll show up when I get there. This is some NFL holdout type stuff.
Hey, and listen. First of all, for my fellow nerds out there, I get the Gandalf defense that you're throwing out here. A wizard is never late. He arrives precisely when he is meant to. Okay, fine. Maybe AD's a wizard. Cool, but maybe there's actually some actual logistical piece for this to be, and that's some logistical piece in that maybe the idea is that AD is giving his team a chance to build the franchise out and get everything right so that it is right going into camp. All he's got to do is put some scribbles on a line. What they got to do to build up this important training camp that you allude to is a lot more, what's his word, moving pieces in magnitude, frankly.
It's Ty's point. It is a short camp. Lakers and Heat have, I guess, a sort of an advantage because it's a short turnaround, but technically it's not really an advantage because you're about to play 72 games in a condensed schedule over a certain amount of nights, and no one even knows what the schedule looks like. No one knows what back-to-backs look like. No one knows if they're going to go baseball style and play 2 games in 3 nights in each of these cities and travel. We don't know what this looks like. We don't know what COVID's going to do. We've seen COVID run apart the NFL, and we've seen it run apart college football, and we all know what happened with baseball. Okay, The only sports that have not been hit with COVID pretty badly was the NHL and the NBA because they were in bubbles. Now the NBA is stepping out of the bubble, and we don't know what hockey's doing right now. Hockey's hockey's just being what hockey does. No one pays attention. But what I'm saying is, you want to be, yes, it's not important, but it kind of is important. Because like you said, when you have all these new faces and new places, unless the team has been together for a long time, like the Boston Celtics, it means something. Rodney in the chat is going to take LeBron. Listen, LeBron's already said he ain't doing no heavy lift in the first half of the season anyway. Did you watch the shop? I kind of believe him when he says he's going to let AD carry the load for a little bit. And listen, LeBron James is what, 35 years old? LeBron does not need to be worried about triple doubles in the first part of, like, I don't know, January or February.
Well, let me add to that, Danny. Like, even if you want, I'm assuming that the Laker brass would want AD to eventually be the guy that is the franchise. Wouldn't you want your would-be franchise player to start to carry more load if we're looking to hand off the torch? I'm not zero problem with this, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, but if your franchise player is also built like glass, built like like a thin glass, I don't know if you want to. Anthony Davis had injury concerns. The last thing the Lakers need is Anthony Davis to go down in a meaningless game in February with an injury that could potentially be long term. We know we're not wishing that upon him, but listen, every time Anthony Davis went down in the finals, you heard Lakers fans go, okay.
It like slows down.
Like the slow motion you came in when the show first started. That's what I'm saying. You look at that part of the aspect. But as you look at the trade camp, let's look at some of the things that are on the positive side of things. You look at now that Kyle, this year the NBA has not only increased my favorite game of the year, they've made it bigger. The playing game's even bigger than it ever was. Instead of last year the 8th and 9th place team being under the microscope, the 7th place team now gets thrown in this foolishness as well too. It allows the 10th seed to be involved in it. Kyle, by your face, it seems like you could personally think this is the dumbest idea possible. But listen, teams like the Charlotte Hornets, the Chicago Bulls, if you go back on the Western Conference last year, the Phoenix Suns, the San Antonio Spurs, the New Orleans Pelicans, for example, they get a chance at the playoffs. And at the same time, if you're sitting in the 7th seed, you're playing to not get in that playing game. Because there is nothing worse than having to defend home court to make the playoffs. And if you lose, you're going to have to play a second playoff game against a 9 or 10 seed that's looking to make the playoffs. And no one, Kyle, and I mean no one, in a one-year season wants to be that team who is sitting in 7th place not to make the playoffs.
I'll put it to you this way, partner. In a league where a lot of teams, where tanking is far more accepted, right? And teams are looking to miss playoff spots because they want a higher draft pick at times, that could be problematic. But I know regardless of my concerns about, for every Phoenix Suns scenario that you bring in, which I love, obviously, there's going to be a Wizards without Beal or a Brooklyn Nets situation with their whole team decimated that now I have to be subjected to a little bit more at the end of the year. Basically, I'm blaming the Eastern Conference. But at the end of the day, the thing that's going to trump everything, and I think you said a little bit last week, or at least alluded to it, the business side of it makes too much damn sense. And I'm just going to have to put sit on my hands and just suffer through the East and try and enjoy what I get out of the West.
Hey, listen, the Eastern Conference, Kyle, remember, Brooklyn gets Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant back. Hopefully they're healthy enough not to be involved in this foolishness again.
My point exactly. Yes.
So I see your point, but here's the thing. It gives teams like, for example, the Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young is arguably one of the best players in the NBA, but will always get the stigmatism that he's second to Luka Doncic because he was traded for him. Let's just say Trae Young goes nuts at the end of the season and the Hawks somehow end up in the playoffs in this playing game format. The playing game format has made stars out of certain players. All right. True basketball fans and people who watch basketball knew who Ja Morant was. But when you watch that playing game, the majority of the casual fans, because it's something new, was able to enjoy Ja Morant. Okay. He basically was a one-man wrecking crew when he lost his he lost his best sidekick in Jaren Jackson and almost literally carried the team against Dame Lillard, who was the MVP of the bubble in the regular season bubble, and almost basically carried them to a playoff spot. Yeah, it was kind of messed up that Memphis was in the 8th seed the entire time, but the schedule does foolish things. But every year the playoffs has made stars out of certain players. Could this be the year Trae Young becomes a star because of what the playing game format does that? Can Devin Booker become that star player that he should have been? Phoenix was 8-0 in the bubble. But because of a scheduling quirk, they fell a half game short because they were a half game behind everybody. They played one less game.
Yeah. I know. I get it. And what you say about Trae Young, listen, I think the fans deserve, let's say, a Trae Young type to be in the playoffs. It also opens a window for another guy who's a good player that's stuck with bad support to be seen in the playoff forum as fans would want. I want to see, let's say, a Zion Williamson possibly make the playoffs, you know? Oh, darn, he might get eliminated in the first round, but Zion's
Who
in the playoffs.
cares?
Yeah.
He's here. At least we get one extra game of Zion on national television. Mm-hmm. Listen, I'll give you four names to watch that have not had that moment. I mentioned Trae Young was one. Okay. Zion Williamson, we already know is one. He's never had that moment. I mentioned Devin Booker. That's another player who's never had his moment. But you look at what Phoenix did in the offseason, and I'll get to Mark's point in a second. But Kyle, here's a couple other guys that have never had this playoff moment. Zach LaVine of the Chicago Bulls has never had this playoff moment. LaVine's is a 26, 27 point a game scorer. If Chicago can get to the 10th spot, Zach LaVine gets a chance to show himself on national television. All right. We're not talking about the Knicks or the Cavaliers because I think there's some college basketball teams that might be both of them teams. All right. They're going to be raiding the cast so the season's over with. Okay. The Knicks, well, there's always next year for the Knicks. All right. You look at those two, they're not counting those two teams, but you look at the rest of the Eastern Conference. I'm going to count Detroit, and Detroit's down the toilet as well, too. We talked about the East. Look at the West. You look at guys like DeJounte Murray of the San Antonio Spurs. He has a chance to have a star moment. You know, there are certain guys that just need that national platform. Zach LaVine, Trae Young. Listen, if it's a 9-10 matchup with Zach LaVine and Trae Young, or you know what? Let's just say the Charlotte Hornets, for example, and LaMelo Ball get to the 10th spot. You don't really think that America wants to see you don't think America would tune in and watch LaMelo Ball carry the Charlotte Hornets to the playoffs with Gordon Hayward?
I mean, part of me kind of wants them to miss so we start hearing the balls in general, and then we don't have to listen to their dad anymore. But yeah, no, I and Ty, I see what you're saying about Beal not having that moment, but that was more because of injury, not because of the playoff system as it exists. Let's be clear.
But Washington has made the playoffs with Bradley Beal. They have made the playoffs with Bradley Beal. Okay. But what I'm saying, they've made because John Wall was part of that team. Can you imagine the John Wall resurrection story if John Wall gets to the playoffs? Wall missed the playoffs. The Wizards tried to trade him. Supposedly there was a trade request out there. He almost got shipped for Russell Westbrook, which would have been the most disastrous trade that could have happened in the last 5 to 10 years in the NBA. Yeah. Yes, that's disastrous.
Yeah.
You got two bad shooting point guards, one that's coming off an ACL and a knee injury at the same time, and the other one just can't hit water, and he can't hit water from the perimeter, being swapped for each other, and also with two of the worst contracts in the NBA as well, too.
I mean, when you look go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead, Kyle. Go ahead, finish.
The last point I'll make, too, is the good thing about lower tier teams in the West being risen up is those players that get their moments may then later become coveted by the Eastern Conference and then thus elevate the play. So that's a possibility, too, provided we get some front offices that are smart enough to make those moves.
Ty's point, De'Aaron Fox, another guy that we have not seen on national scale, De'Aaron Fox in Sacramento. Hopefully they're competent GM and new front office to do things. The Bulls do have a lot. Billy Donovan's competent. That's why the Bulls could be a playoff team, because Billy Donovan knows what coaching looks like.
Correct.
He knows how to coach.
Correct.
That's what makes the Bulls a playoff contender, because they have an actual coach. Now, mind you, speaking of things that didn't have actual coaches, Kyle, I didn't really want to discuss this, but since it's a trending topic on social media everywhere, someone who did have a coach this weekend was Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson decided to step in the ring on Saturday night against YouTuber Jake Paul. And I don't know who coached. Maybe it was Jim Boylan of the Chicago Bulls. It could have been Matt Patricia who got fired. Maybe Nate Robinson was coached by Adam Gase. I don't know who coached Nate Robinson to try to hug in a boxing match himself. But Nate Robinson was knocked out in the second round by Jake Paul. And arguably, like I said, it's hard, Kyle. Like, I'm not stepping in nobody's boxing ring no time soon, all right? I've never declared myself a boxer. The only time I do boxing is on the Wii. Okay?
Fair. And there may be even times where your daughter competes with you in that sport, too. I'll just throw that out there.
Listen, she's got a mean uppercut in Wii boxing. I'm telling you right now.
Wii boxing hands. Boom.
She laid them hands. She got them hands. I think it's the controller, but the hands. What I'm saying is, yes, it's the details. But, you know, we had to mention it because it overshined the Mike Tyson Roy Jones fight. Kyle, did you watch any of that fight this weekend?
No, I didn't. But what I'll say is this: if Jake Paul has actually fought before, it was another YouTuber he fought. Granted, but I'll put it this way: if you are in a position to where you fight a YouTuber and you lose, that community is the one step away from the meme community. The two are very properly linked. If you take a dive like that, you're gonna hear about it. That's all. If you're shocked that this is the abuse he's taken from that, so be it. And listen, I'm sure he got cash out of it too, Rodney. I ain't trying to act like, there's not the possibility he laughed to the bank, but the disrespect, to quote my good friend Danny Thompson.
Listen, Kyle, it was a trap. As you just quoted, it was a trap. All I'm saying is, listen, it's a trap. Basically, what it was. Listen, to Mario Reyes. Listen, that boxing gym should be that boxing gym should be closed down forever because now Jake Paul believes that he can step in the ring with Canelo and other fighters that are way bigger than him. Yes, it's his second professional fight, and yes, he is 23 years old. But this man's a YouTube guy. Okay, I'm not paying for this man to get obliterated by Canelo in the ring, for Conor McGregor, or any of the lightweights or whatever his weight size is. Okay. All I know is to quote Snoop Dogg by Nate Robinson, he needs to shake it off and do it again. Listen, to Hunter's point, the NBA community was killing Nate for losing only because he said he was representing the NBA. He's doing this for the NBA. He's doing it for the culture.
Good luck.
Yeah. Listen, no, Nate does not need to run it back. Ty, no, he does not need to run it back. He spent half the fight trying to hug the man. Do you not remember he got knocked down the first time? He tried to hug and he failed? Bobby?
The funniest thing I saw, even today, it's running into today, ballers, who may have played in college or whatever, saying, just because he got knocked out does not mean I'm soft too. So if you're going to come at me. I'm going to knock you the hell out. Everybody's like, different themselves from Nate being a ball player and saying, I'm tough. I'm not Nate, I'm tough.
Yeah. Listen.
And the memes are hilarious, by the way.
Listen, by the way, here's the thing. Nate Robinson's 5'7", like 175 pounds. If Jake Paul called out one of the Morris twins and knocked one of them out, then you're a bad boy. Okay? Yeah, I bet you won't call Marcus or Markieff Morris either. Who's Nate going to fight in this situation, Ty? Is he going to fight KSI, the guy Jake Paul knocked out? Or are you going to fight a YouTube guy? Because no real boxer is going to pay Nate Robinson attention, and Hunter's point, he did not know how to defend himself.
Yeah, I mean, to everybody's point, I think Mark said it earlier. Like 101 is keep your beep hands up. All right, there are 3 rules in boxing, Danny Thompson. Keep your hands up, keep your hands up, and keep your damn stupid hands up.
At one point, did he try to switch to southpaw? Did he try to switch to southpaw? Jake Paul versus Meta World Peace. No, did we? Now, Hunter, did we not watch the Malice in the Palace? If you have not watched the Malice versus the Palace,
no, don't listen to him. Listen, okay? Hunter's got a point. The Malice in the Palace is the reason I want to see that. I'm just
listen. You might as well call Steven Jackson. You can call Meta World Peace. Big shouts to my main man Daniel Artest as well too. Check out his show on the Haps app as well too, and the Beyond Buzzer Tournament. Kyle. Okay, Rodney. So what?
I got height, weight, and reach. He's not going to challenge me. That's not fair. I'm not doing that to talk trash, Danny Thompson. That's fact.
Listen, to Ty's point, the kids need. Listen, nope. They're going to call Jake Paul. They're going to call Cliff Paul. Okay? From now on, the only person that can fight Jake Paul will be Cliff Paul at this point. Listen, Jake Paul will not call it the Morris twins. Okay? Listen, if Jake Paul wants to call, let him call Steven Jackson. Chris Childs, yes. The one man, the two-piece Kobe Bryant. There are plenty of matches we can come up with this. All right, Kyle.
Mike Watt versus Logan Mankins. That's the boxing match I want. Anyway.
Let's talk about Roy Jones and Mike Tyson. Kyle, all right, you didn't watch much of the fight. I did. All right. There are 2 guys over the age of 50, and there was no knockouts. What were we expecting? For those who are complaining that Roy Jones hugged the entire time, shame on you.
Yeah.
Because y'all would have done the same damn thing he did. Excuse my language. Okay, here's how the fight started. Roy thought he was going to go out there and dance and box and jab. He got hit in the ribs 1 or 2 times. He felt it. he felt his organs go through his liver. And he was like, you know what? I got 7 more rounds of this foolishness. Ain't no way.
Hell no.
After the 4th round, when Roy started tiring out and realized he had the energy, and Mike was just getting started, at that point, Roy knew he was in trouble. The ultimate thing with Roy Jones at the end of this fight was, if you watch the post-fights, Kyle, and they asked Roy, would you want to run it back? Roy started holding his ribs. It was like, I need to discuss this with my family. AKA, there's not a chance in hell I'll get back. It's not a chance in hell I'll get back with him. Tyson got reported 10 million. Roy got reported 3 million. Okay. Mark, that's not a fight. James Johnson 6'9". No, that's not a fight. No, Jake Paul would get destroyed. Okay. No, James Johnson might be the scariest dude in the NBA. No chance. But listen, Kyle, I know Roy got $3 million for this fight, but $3 million is not enough for me to take my organs being rearranged by Mike Tyson. And the fact that he was smiling like he liked it, that scares me even worse.
Listen, it's what they say sometimes. The only thing about boxing is the only sport where experience might make you dumber. And to get to smile by getting wailed on by Tyson could be proof of said dumbness. I'm just saying.
Tyson trying to get the money. Ain't no, there's no rematch. Roy said he ain't going. Roy said in so many words he ain't going back in that ring, Mark. He ain't doing it.
Mark may be right that's Tyson's thinking, but Roy ain't going to fall for it. Listen, Mark, I love you. I think you're right here that he may have taken it easy, but Roy's a smart man. The answer's probably going to be no, man.
Listen, if not, he going to be back to rapping. He could become applesauce at the same time.
There you go.
Kyle, speaking of things and being that are just completely weird, college football took an interesting turn on Saturday, Kyle. Because one of the teams in the national championship hunt got dealt with a serious blow, Kyle, and it could be almost earth-shattering if it happens again. Ohio State had to cancel its 2nd game of the Big Ten season against Illinois on Saturday. Ryan Day had COVID, and the universities felt like the Big Ten felt like universities couldn't go on with it. Now, Kyle, this becomes a game of danger. If Ohio State has one of their final 2 games canceled, they cannot play for the Big Ten championship because they have not played enough games, which means a team that's considered in the top 4 in the BCS rankings will not have his shots at winning his conference championship. Kyle, this is a 2-part question for you because you're my college football guy, so I'm going to give it to you on the 1-yard line and take it in the end zone. Question number 1, do you penalize Ohio State if they do not get in the Big Ten championship game? And 2, if you're Ohio State, knowing that the back's against the wall and this will end your season, do you report COVID cases at this point? Like Urban Meyer did report some things?
No, hey, listen, and I get the question. First of all, I'm going to go right out on a limb and say this up front. I blame the CFP for putting Ohio State in this position to a small extent, and let me tell you why. A team that has played just 4 games has no business being ranked in the top 4. You earn your way up the damn poll. Listen, you want to put BYU at 14, that's cool with me. You want to put Texas A&M in contention, I'm down with that too. Maybe you want to put Ohio State in the top 10 for what they've done. I'm aware that they may still get voted in if they play enough games. Rodney, that's not the damn point. Let them come up the standings a week at a time. It is, in fact, November 30th today, and we still have the month of December to account for, at least the first half of it. They can come up the standings a little bit more when they've played more than 4 damn games and played somebody who's actually worked their rank. Yes, I'm throwing shade at Penn State, who's in fact, God darn 5, okay? But by the same token,
don't you just Indiana. Don't you just Indiana. Indiana deserved their ranking.
I am not hating on Indiana, sir. You need to take your step back. What Indiana does represent is the only ranked team of any worth that Ohio State has beaten, which, by the way, Indiana ascended by beating up on teams that were overrated in and of themselves. Granted, they may not have played Minnesota yet. Am I right, Danny Thompson? But what I'm trying to say is I got the Golden Gopher shot. Boom! No, but what I am trying to say is both Indiana and Ohio State have played a lot of teams that have gotten their rankings. You can give me that all you want, Bobby. That doesn't make me wrong. It makes him wrong, which you're probably making fun of Danny. I just like yelling. Anyways, because that's how I talk. No, but what I am trying to say is this, man. Ohio State hasn't done anything all that impressive, and what Indiana did was improve. That's about it. So on the strength of that, they were put at 4th. 4 games against 3 underwhelming opponents and one that's decent-ish. We'll see what Indiana does to finish this. The toughest conference in the nation, and I've done it for more than 4 games. Where are they? Florida.
And they beat Florida.
I was about to say Florida, even though they lost to Texas A&M, are more worthy than Ohio State at this point. Yeah, listen. At the end of the day, there are more deserving candidates at this point, and when you consider that there are more games to come, Ohio State should have to crawl their way in there. Now, and what you speak about the dangers surrounding the possibility of people withholding stuff. I mean, listen, we've heard of NFL players sandbagging baseline tests for concussion protocol. We've heard of college coaches doing all sorts of other scandalous stuff. At the end of the day, the fact that this championship will probably, in the court of public opinion, have an asterisk next to it no matter who wins it. People got to go in and protocol has to be followed. Hey, Precious. But it's a tough thing all the way around. The one thing I will say is that the teams that are 1 and 2 deserve to be there. Clemson, I get why they're there, but Ohio State to me was given too much love, and now their situation puts them under more pressure to kind of hold it in place. Whereas if they were going to have to climb, I feel like the pressure would be less, if that makes sense.
To me, I blame the Big Ten for all this. And
Fair.
Kyle, I'm going to tell you why I blame I blame the Big Ten.
Completely fair.
The Big Ten deserves blame for this because they decided to start the season showing up late for the party.
Uh-huh.
Like, okay, like, you really thought COVID was not going to mess up and intertwine games? We just saw Wisconsin basically lose their entire season and can't play the Big Ten championship game because of the fact of, guess what? COVID ravaged almost a month of their season and they can't get it rescheduled. Mm-hmm. This is why the Pac-12 shouldn't count anyway, even though Oregon State kicked Oregon right out this whole thing. Bye-bye, big Pac-12. See you later.
Pac-12 was never relevant anyway. Can we be honest about all that?
Listen. But if Oregon went undefeated, the Pac-12 was going to start quacking about the Ducks. So
only a bunch of quacks would think that's a good idea.
Hey, listen. Donald will tell you otherwise. All I'm saying is, I meant Duck, not the other Donald. All I'm saying is,
agree with me. Damn it. Moving on.
But Puddles can kick both of their asses in a fight, so Puddles wins. But Ohio State, the Big Ten put every school under a shotgun.
Yeah.
Okay. Because of the fact that you got to play 5 conference games. Listen, I'm sorry, Jamal. You just really not had a good week. Okay. Florida State's trash, and so are the Carolina Panthers. That's all I'm saying. But back to what I was saying.
Damn.
Listen, I can't explain that to you, but here's the thing. Ohio State now has to basically force themselves to play Michigan State on Saturday. And wouldn't it be better that Ohio State's last game of the season is against Michigan on the 12th of December, and Jim Harbaugh saves his job by ruining Ohio State's season by either A, I don't know, winning, or B, winning. Ohio State, you got to blame the Big Ten for this because the Big Ten should have scheduled buffer room in their schedule because of COVID. Every other conference did it. Why do you think the ACC and the SEC started when they did? They knew that COVID was going to run rapid somehow, some way. You look at the small conference.
I'll see that.
The American conference as well, too.
There you go. Because they know they're not cared for. They have no choice.
No, I mean, I get the American conference. I mean, I would say American. But conference like the Big 12, the Pac-12, the Pac-12 and the Big Ten, and even the Mid-American Conference, for example, they decided to show up late for the party because, we decided everybody doesn't have the money. We don't have the money. We should get our money too. You should have jumped when everybody else jumped. Okay, the SEC and the ACC had said this back in September. We play football regardless. Ty, being a former Electronic Arts employee, you got a better chance of NBA Live coming back before we get an NCAA football game again.
Yeah,
all right.
In case, basically scared a lot of entities with that. No offense, man, but that's the fact.
Mm-mm. Well, no, the fact of Ed O'Bannon in the college football games on consoles. So if you want to find somebody, go find Ed O'Bannon because lawsuit wouldn't have happened. Guess what? We'd be playing college football right now. But Ty, if you're looking for a college football game, it might not be legitimate, but Doug Flutie college football on the Xbox One and the PS4 is the closest you're going to get to college football because it has American Conference rules with 136 teams. It's actually pretty darn entertaining, and it has recruiting on there. All I'm saying when it comes to this is Ohio State has 2 weeks to figure this out. All right, Ty, that's another story for another day. We
No,
ain't talking
no,
about
no, you don't. No, you don't. That's a bad take. Let's move on.
NBA Street was my game though. Street was my game though.
The first one was
God,
good. They ruined it in the next version, in my opinion.
Volume 2? Volume 2 with Dr. J?
Well, no, the Dr. J thing in there was hot. Don't get it wrong. The gameplay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Ty, Doug Fleet Football. Give it a shot. It's like $25 on the Xbox and PlayStation store. It's actually if you love the actual idea of recruiting and the gameplay is not. Listen, it's a 6-man team from Canada. It's 6 people creating a video game. All right, so the gameplay isn't perfect. Listen, but they created a pretty darn good product. Hell, it's more fun to me than Madden. If you love recruiting, Kyle, like I do, it's better than they to hurry with that. Listen, Ty, we'll take this off the air. Pay them kids. You tell Clemson to pay them damn kids.
Hey,
all right?
You don't want them to pay them damn kids, Rodney, because all that'll mean is it'll be like Clemson and like 3 other teams every year.
Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, LSU. You know what? Florida State will be relevant again.
I mean, would they?
Hey, Florida State's got booster money.
I mean, well, let's move on.
Listen, Florida State's paying 4 head coaches right now. They all bought out because they got money somewhere. Okay, I think they're still paying Jimbo Fisher. I think.
I mean, the only other time you've seen a deal like that is Bobby Bonilla. Am I right?
That's not even funny. Why you got... Epic fail.
You, Rodney.
An epic fail. No, but guess what? He deserved it because it epically failed when he tried to play it.
True.
So listen, Bobby had his one moment in time and he couldn't do it. All right. Kyle, speaking of things that are one moment at a time, Kyle, let's bring in the National Football League because guess what? We're about to have a moment in time right now because the NFL can't figure out how to reschedule this Pittsburgh and Baltimore game. We're going to start with that first. This conundrum has now made this game even worse. This game has been moved 4 times since Wednesday. The game was supposed to be originally on Thanksgiving Day. It was supposed to be the actual real football game on Thanksgiving because the other 2 games were complete trash. Yes, that means you Lions, and that means you Cowboys. Okay,
the arguing. I don't even listen. JJ Watt even got an interception. Whatever.
Yes, JJ got an interception. Deshaun Watson looked like he was back at Clemson, and the Lions just went lion on Thanksgiving. The Lion. Yes, and neither was Matt Patricia. He wasn't lying as they escorted him out the door, and his badge stopped working after Thursday.
Oh boy.
So, listen. I guess the Ford family got so tired of losing on Thanksgiving they decided to fire Matt Patricia before he got home for his yams. Okay, he should have. By the way, he should have been fired before Dan Quinn should have been fired. I'm just saying.
And that's a hell of a note from a Falcons fan. I'll have the record show.
And you know the crazy thing is, Kyle, Adam Gase still has a job.
Man, listen. Some things are just beyond explanation, man.
So we had the first game on Thursday that allowed, like I said, the Detroit Lions to basically go Detroit Lion. Matt Stafford looks like the one guy that will never. He'll always be a quarterback that was very talented that could never do anything because the Lions are just the Lions. All right. In the second game, we had the Washington football team take over first place or tie for first place in the division by beating the Dallas Cowboys. And Kyle not beating the Dallas Cowboys. They slapped around the Dallas Cowboys, especially in the fourth quarter, 41-16. Mm-hmm. The Cowboys went from being in contention in first place to now being to be them boys in last place.
In other words, remind us exactly what they are.
Yes. Trash. All right. That now leads into the game that was supposed to be Thursday night, which would have been Steelers and Ravens. The undefeated Steelers take on the arch rival Ravens. Well, the Ravens got hit with a COVID outbreak, and players have been contracting COVID all week. Not only was Lamar Jackson on part of COVID, Mark Andrews, Matthew Judon, and 15 other Ravens players have been diagnosed with COVID since last week. Before Steelers fans get upset with themselves and say, "Oh, we should play the game. Oh, we should play the game," Steelers players have caught COVID too. Ask James Conner. He's out of this game due to COVID. Okay.
One would say that concept was terminated.
Mm-hmm. The game was moved to Sunday. Players kept catching COVID, so it got moved to Monday.
Yeah.
Players kept catching COVID. Now it's moved to Tuesday. Players continue to have COVID. Now, Kyle, this game, for those who are working, I'm sorry. If you're a Steelers fan or Ravens fan and having to work during Wednesday, I do apologize. The game has now been scheduled for 3:40 p.m. on Wednesday. Now you're wondering, why 3:40 in the afternoon, ladies and gentlemen? Yes. That's genius, by the way. The reason why the game got moved to 3:40 in the afternoon, Kyle, is not because they want to beat rush hour traffic. There are no fans, so why we rush hour? NBC could not have the game in primetime on Wednesday night, Kyle, because that's the night of the Rockefeller Christmas tree lighting. Because they're contractually obligated to have a Christmas tree lighting, the game got moved to 3:40 in the afternoon because a Christmas tree lighting is more important than a football game that's been moved 3 times.
Legitimate question, Danny Thompson. What if that mother huncher goes into damn overtime? Then what?
That's why it's starting at 3:40 because we don't want a Heidi incident. Because something tells me if this game goes to overtime, they'll switch this thing to a Christmas tree lighting, and Twitter will go on fire at that point.
You know what they'll actually do? Split screen. Watch.
Oh no, there's no split screen. Oh no, if they interrupted a championship game for Heidi and they told the NFL you cannot have your game in primetime because of a Christmas tree lighting and whatever show they got at Rockefeller Center, I guarantee you if this game goes to overtime and it's 7:59 and the Ravens are going for a game-winning field goal or Pittsburgh's driving down the field, they'll cut that thing to Christmas tree lighting and the internet will burn in effigy. In layman's terms, get your joint right. Get your stuff together. Now, how this affects the rest of the week is now the Cowboys game that the Ravens were supposed to play on Thursday night will now be scheduled for Monday afternoon at 5:30, and then the Steelers game against the first place Washington football team was moved to Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
All this so no game can get canceled this weekend.
Oh, here comes Bobby.
Sir, Giants are in first place.
Listen, Washington was in first place as of Thursday, sir. We haven't gotten to the weekend.
Yeah. Way to ruin the climax. Damn it, Blackjack.
You know what? We're going to leave the Giants now. The Giants are now in first place in the NFC least, or the NFC worst, or that division that should not be named.
There he is.
But in the process of the Giants becoming in first place, Dale Jones is now injured and is going to miss time. So the first place 4-7 New York Giants have lost Dale Jones and to a hamstring strain that's going to have him miss time. Joe Judge, who fires offensive line coach Mark Colombo, has now said that Jones had issues moving around the last couple of days and is in wait-and-see mode. Well, the good news is it's not a tear. The bad news is Colt McCoy might start for the Giants on Sunday.
He's still alive? Wow.
Well, yes, Colt McCoy, Kyle. Juan. Yes, all hell Colt McCoy and his 6 for 10 for 31 yards in the second half against the Bengals last week.
Oh, boy.
If the NFC East couldn't get worse, the Giants could have took a stranglehold of this division. Now their quarterback is out, and now they're going to rely on Colt McCoy to lead the division chase.
Good luck with that.
Kyle, what can the NFC listen, Ty? We're not going to listen. All right, at this point, listen. By the time you bring Kaepernick in, you get him COVID tested and protocol, and get him to learn the ropes and everything. It's too late. It's week 12. Ain't no point at this point. Kyle's hamstrings racing after me. No, that's Clemson running away from Notre Dame at this point. All right. So, Kyle, the Giants are in first place after winning 19-17. So we'll give Bobby his moment. The Giants are in first place. So let's talk about real football teams.
Yes.
All right. So, Kyle, the game of the day yesterday was a game that everybody was waiting to see. It was a matchup that everybody had circled from the beginning of the season. It was also one of my surprises that this game was not on national television with a scheduled release, which was the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers out in Tampa yesterday. In the first half, this was like a game on Madden where you just basically knew who to spam where you throw the ball to one receiver and you can't catch him. Because that's basically what Tyreek Hill did in the first quarter of the Tampa secondary.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
7 catches, 206 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the opening 15 minutes of the game. For those who play fantasy football, that was the greatest fantasy football quarter by any player in the history of fantasy football. Especially if you're in a PPR league, Tyreek Hill's first quarter, Kyle, you get 7 points for catches, 20 points for yards. That's 27.
Right.
And then 18 points for touchdowns. Kyle, he had 45 fantasy points in the first quarter.
So, I like the reason why I asked that question, I want people to know you're not just joking around. That's literally the best scoring quarter for a player in fantasy football history.
This is up there with Klay Thompson's 37 points in one quarter with the Golden State Warriors. It's something that doesn't happen. Okay. Now, mind you, this overshadows the fact that Patrick LeVon Mahomes II threw for over 350 yards in the first half.
I mean, let's call that what it is too. And I know you're thinking I'm going to bash Patrick Mahomes, which you're wrong.
No. It's Patrick LeVon Mahomes II.
Patrick LeVon Mahomes too. Listen, if you Todd Bowles and you want to come out and play man-to-man on Tyreek Hill, you don't have a corner that's that effing good, but let's pretend you did. That's a die roller right there, son. And listen, people who want to talk about Tampa being washed, that's cute. They're still going to make the playoffs. # deal with it. That's something we can't say about the Carolina Panthers. Anyways, what I'm going to say is this, though, Danny Thompson. If you call for the storm, you're going to get the whirlwind, and Tyreek Hill whirlwind that defense, no question. If you think I'm going to disparage Patrick LeVon Mahomes too, you're out of your gourd. No. Listen, he's not the MVP, but he had a fine game against the Bucs.
To this point, Mahomes finished the game. Now, mind you, Hill finished the game 13 catches, 269 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Already.
He did not. He only had one big catch in the second half. That was just a 20-yard. He only caught a 20-yard touchdown from Mahomes. Only. Over 2 defenders in the end zone, by the way, in the third quarter for a touchdown. Okay, Kyle. At that point, when Hill caught the touchdown, it was 27-10, and at that point, you're looking like, man, Brady is just about to go down at home again. What happened? And to be honest with you, listen. In the fourth quarter, the Buccaneers looked like the team that everybody expected it to be. Mike Evans caught 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Brady got it together. He finished the game at 345 yards. Gronk had over 100 yards receiving. The Buccaneers got together in the fourth quarter. It was just too little, too late. You can't let the Kansas City Chiefs jump on you like that and think you're going to go point for point or be able to try to catch up from behind when the Chiefs are already out in front of you. Yeah, you don't give the Chiefs a 17-point lead that late in the game. No.
That's rough with any team, let alone it happens to be the defending Super Bowl champions. Hello. No,
there's some teams you can do that too. There's some teams you can jump out of the lead and they come back against you.
I don't feel like talking about the Bears right now.
The same. But listen, Mahomes threw for 462 yards, 3 touchdowns. Hill had over 269 yards receiving. And Tyreek Hill made an interesting point, Kyle. He says the Chiefs have the best head coach in the league, the best quarterback, the best tight end, and arguably the best group of receivers in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Hill did not mention he's the best receiver in the game, but it said he has the best group of receivers in the game. Do you agree with that statement?
I think it's absolutely spot on. Not only do I agree with it, hell, it's the main stigma for the fact that I don't give Patrick Mahomes the MVP, that he's a 1B in the league. There's so much more going on. Like, Andy Reid gets so much flack, and I think that's mostly the reason Andy Reid left Philadelphia is that because that fan base did not respect what he was. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but man, Andy Reid is a fantastic coach. Maybe he's not Belichick, but damn it, if you're going to be second place to a coach in Belichick, it is. I'm good with that, but Andy Reid is beating Belichick. That's a hell of a duel. Other than Tom Coughlin in Super Bowls, Bill Belichick has struggled no more than against Andy Reid. So, yeah, I think he's spot on. And listen, I hope no one takes what he says as a slight to that defense, because with all the weapons they have on offense, that defense is pretty good too. Let's give them some credit.
You know what? And the thing is, the defense, man, the funny thing is, Tampa had a chance because they got the touchdown late from Mike Evans. And ironically, the biggest play Tyreek Hill made in the game was all about the first down catch. Listen, Z Jamal's on your side. I mean, I agree everything we said about Andy Reid, but to me, he is the best coach in the NFL. You know, you really can't argue. And Eric Bieniemy, every week, Eric Bieniemy is making the case to arguably be I'm going to say Kyle, one of the 10 highest paid head coaches when he gets a job, when somebody decides to hire him as a head coach. Okay. Listen, it's one thing to have.
He's top 5. He's not the best. Deal with it.
Listen, your team hasn't even played this week, so no Mike Tomlin this week, sir.
Oh,
all right?
That was a cheap shot, Danny Thompson. Wow. That's
Listen,
a cheaper shot than a team that comes in and sacks your quarterback 8 times.
Terrible, Kyle. Terrible. All I'm saying is this. Listen, I know. All I'm saying is this. We can't talk Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh's game got moved because of the fact of a Christmas tree lighting. So if your game gets
wow.
That just proves you're the best team in the league and undefeated this late in the season, and a Christmas tree lighting takes precedence. That really tells you how much important your team is. Yes, the Andy Reese Hawaiian shirts are also classic as well too, and the man loves hamburgers after every single game. All right,
the hell's wrong with hamburgers, folks? Damn it, that's awesome.
I don't. Andy Reid's a guy I would love to sit down and have a hamburger with and talk football.
Let's go to Fuddruckers with him, dude.
Listen, I am all for some Fuddruckers. But listen, for those who are concerned about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, unlike Rodney, because the Panthers don't matter at this point, the Buccaneers are 7-5, and Kyle, they have a bye week. Next week is their bye. Mm-hmm. The last 4 games of Tampa's schedule, Kyle, are favorable games. All right, they have the Vikings, 2 games against Atlanta, and the Detroit Lions. All right, barring any incidents with COVID. All right, because like I say, at this point, you have to say barring any COVID incidents.
Sure.
The Bucs should be able to win all 4 of those games.
Yeah,
agreed.
The potential's there. Yeah, I agree.
And the only thing they have to do is you win those 4 games. You're putting the pressure on the New Orleans Saints. You're putting the pressure on everybody else in the NFC because when you get to that 12-win mark, that forces everybody. When you get to 10 wins, you can win the last 2 games, you are forcing everybody to have to win.
Correct.
All right. And the one thing is, I was about to say it, Ty. All the players are hoping the Steelers and Ravens get this game in, because if this game gets canceled, Kyle, we trigger the 8th game with the 8th team in the playoffs at this point. And the number 1 seed in each conference, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New Orleans Saints at this point in the schedule, do not want to play an extra game.
Nope.
On top of missing salaries, nobody wants to play extra football when they don't have to. Mm-hmm. This is the reason why the NFL was looking at, the top seed was so important, because you're the only team getting that bye into the next round. If you add the 8th team, there is no bye. Right. And Kyle, it becomes full-fledged NCAA tournament. Now, will a number 1 be lose for number 8? I doubt it. Can't say never. Never say never. But
I mean, we live in a world where a 7-9 team in Seattle with Tavares Jackson as a quarterback beat the New Orleans Saints in a playoff game, folks. That ish happened.
Yeah, but the Saints are terrible in the playoffs anyways. Outside of 1 year made the Super Bowl, they always blow games in the playoffs.
Hey, at least that's one where they're not going to blame the officials, Danny. That's my point.
Yeah, you blame Marshawn Lynch causing a daggum earthquake.
That was so great.
It really was. Speaking of things that were so great, I'm going to tell you something that wasn't so great. Listen, speaking of the New Orleans Saints, the top team in the NFC, if you're a Broncos fan, this week wasn't good for you. All right. The Broncos have issues with the NFL for not canceling this game or moving this game because of the fact of COVID. All right. I understand the Broncos situation. So for those who missed the game, the Broncos, all 3 of their quarterbacks in their roster had been around Brett Rippon, who had contracted COVID. Well, all 3 of them were also deemed basically ineligible to play on Sunday against the New Orleans Saints. It got so bad that the Broncos tried to get a waiver to have one of their assistant coaches be able to play quarterback because he knew the offense.
UCF's Ron Calabrese, yes.
Yes. Well, the NFL said not a chance, because this is going to lead to Pandora's box opening to having former players take jobs. It just so happens if somebody goes down, they get active. Because nothing worse than to see Calvin Johnson sign as a receivers coach for the Eagles, for him to go down, for him to be suited up for the Eagles because they either get injured or they can't catch passes. One or the other. That's all I'm saying. Well, Raphael, here's the thing. It's not being bogus, because here's the thing. All the quarterbacks were deemed out. So even if you move the game 2 days, they were still out.
Yep.
The protocol had them out for at least a week. The Broncos had no choice in this game. They went with Kendall Hinton, a quarterback that had some time, He was in the practice squad, converted wide receiver from quarterback from Wake Forest, started a couple games at Wake Forest, and, well, he was one of 9, Kyle. Now, I will be the one to say this. I play fantasy football.
You do.
And I noticed on Sunday morning that Kendall Hinton was listed as a wide receiver.
Yes.
All right?
That's because that's his normal position on the practice squad.
So, me trying to be cute and trying to basically cheat the system, I decided to start Kendall Hinton at wide receiver.
Danny Thompson.
Knowing he was a quarterback. Well, Kendall Hinton's one of 9 day with 2 interceptions got me negative 3 points. Okay?
Serves you right.
I tried to cheat the system. Listen, he was listed as a wide receiver. What the hell do you want me to do?
Play smarter. How about that?
Well, Kyle, I had 3 guys out at wide receiver. Raphael, there's no 2 extras. They couldn't have got nobody there.
No
They
way.
didn't have a quarterback on the practice squad.
Mhm.
You would have had to get somebody in, get them quarantined, and get them COVID tested. And they got to pass protocol a number of days in a row. Remember, the Broncos quarterback situation was named, Saturday? They deemed all those quarterbacks out between Friday and Saturday. 2 days would not have gotten a quarterback in there in the system at all. It wouldn't have worked that way.
Correct.
Here's something. Now, in hockey, right, isn't there a thing where in hockey where the Zamboni driver can, like, go in and play goalie if necessary?
Yeah?
They should have that this season. They should have something like that for football. Some
Well,
guys
It's going to be like a lawnmower for the field instead of a Zamboni.
they're
and that
going to
would-
be quarantined and ready to play just in case.
That's why you have the freaking practice squad. Every team's a quarterback on the practice squad.
I mean, there you go. Maybe Hinton needs to get some Zamboni driving lessons, and now Blackjack's satisfied. I like it.
I guess. But Kendall Hinton had no time to practice with the first team. I don't think he threw a single snap in practice all week. Well, it showed. He did complete a pass, which got a standing ovation, and the Saints, after getting off to a slow start, destroyed the Broncos 31-3. I feel sorry for Alvin Kamara fantasy football owners because they had 53 yards, and all his carries were taken away by either UCF's own, Latavius Murray, or Taysom Hill.
I listen. By the way, side note: if I'm a Saints fan, I'm disappointed. If I'm Danny Thompson or a good friend Rodney, I'm encouraged by the fact that this is the future of the Saints because I was not impressed.
Listen, the thing is, Taysom Hill is Tim Tebow 2.0. He just wins games. I mean, it's ugly. Michael Thomas ain't gonna like listen. Taysom Hill's won games.
What
Tell me if I'm wrong.
games has he been asked to win?
Well, Kyle,
Let's slow down before we start going to the whole DJ Khaled defense for Taysom Hill.
Hold on. Raphael, Baltimore has 18 players with COVID.
Not the same at all. Yeah.
It's different. And Pittsburgh has COVID cases as well. The only thing with the Broncos right now is the fact that it was isolated with the quarterbacks. It was one position group. This wasn't widespread like the Ravens was. That's why the game got moved. The Steelers have players here and there.
By that same token, the Patriots were gypped when Cam Newton had to miss games. Where's your defense for them?
Listen, the only team that got, look at the Titans. When the Titans and Bills game got moved around, do the Bills, I think it was the Titans had the whole incident with COVID. Okay. Yep. It's the simple fact of it was an isolated incident, to Mike's point. It was isolated with the Broncos. It was only the quarterbacks. Unfortunately, the quarterback is the most important position in the offense, and we saw what happened. Baltimore has it widespread, and it's 18 players. All right. The FB got 2 wins at quarterback. I can't stand Rodney. All right. Speaking of Raphael, since Raphael is on the chat tonight.
How about
Rodney basically segued into last night's Sunday night game between the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. No. They had buffer room on the schedule.
I think it was something where they moved it from a Thursday to a Sunday, I think. I'd have to look it up.
I'll look it up. We'll look it up. But as we're looking that up, Kyle, we look at this. The Chicago Bears had to bring back in Mitch Trubisky because Nick Foles got injured. He had a hip injury. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Mitch Trubisky and the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Charles Rodgers.
Thank you.
Smacked around the Chicago Bears 41-25 last night in the Sunday night game last night. Kyle, what are your thoughts? We talk about the Packers week after week. Kyle, are they really this good?
I mean, part of it is their division helping them, right? I mean, we've accused Tom Brady and the Patriots getting the same sort of benefit. They do too. And frankly, this crap where people call Matt Nagy bad, I'm sick of it. Yeah, that's right. I'm coming after you too, Mike Patton. Blast you, General. Okay. How on earth is this guy going from being the coach of the year to suddenly being the problem? When you have so little to work with at the quarterback position, you're going to go after the one guy who's thrown every single smoke and mirror he can imagine to make this team successful. Listen, we all know the Bears had no business winning the first 3 games that they did. They had help. They're only in that position because Matt Nagy got them there. Listen, that defense has been the bread and butter of that team. We know that. But at the end of the day, hell, even Joe Flacco could complete a pass reliably every now and again in his prime. Granted, he can't now that he's 155 years old and playing for the Jets. But the point is, I'm not here to say that Matt Nagy's a problem. Oh, he didn't play that bad, people want to tell me. Well, hey, at least you're not trying to claim that he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo anymore. Am I right? And the Packers can't stop the run consistently. No, they can't. But you know what? The Bears still couldn't do a damn thing about it. You can blame Matt Nagy for that too? That's adorable. This is a bad take by anybody who's going after Matt Nagy. I don't care if they're my bosses. I don't care if they're my cohorts. They're wrong. They need to watch some film, and they need to remember he was voted Coach of the Year just 2 years ago. You can't have it both ways, guys. Get right. Moving on.
Now, to Raphael's point, here's the thing: the Steelers have 3 games in 11 days. Their game got moved to Wednesday. They had the game moved next to the Washington game to 5 o'clock on Monday, and then they play Buffalo on the 13th. That Sunday. Monica's right. The Bears do rule. The Packers do rule. They smacked the Bears around last night.
So Pittsburgh goes so far. I mean, they didn't rule so much when they played Tampa.
Listen, I'm saying they ruled last night because Aaron Charles Rodgers played once again like MVP.
Don't I? Come at me.
Listen, Linda, both of you. All right, 2 minutes of
truth. And guess what? Jimmy Garoppolo is a better quarterback than Mitch Trubisky. I said it. What?
That's not saying much, Kyle.
But
that's not saying
much. Otherwise, when the draft happened, I remember.
Obviously not enough because Kyle didn't play defense for the Bears last night. That's for sure. Kyle wasn't on nobody's defense last night.
Hey, can you blame the defense for being frustrated to have to carry Mitch Trubisky again? I'm saying.
Listen, speaking of defenses that struggled yesterday, the Indianapolis Colts got dragged around, especially dragging, by Derrick Henry in the first half yesterday. Derrick Henry, big shout out to my man Mike Patton, the general himself from 3-point conversion, said yesterday that Derrick Henry's suit seemed like he was ready to be on fire. And after his first half performance, it showed that Mike was completely right.
Right out of NBA Jam, baby.
Listen, Derrick Henry was dragging defenders like this was NFL blitz in the first half. It is what it is. Derrick Henry finished the game with 27 carries for 178 yards and 3 touchdowns, and technically could have kept running more, but guess what? He didn't have to. Ryan Tannehill did what Ryan Tannehill does best, which is make a few plays and give the ball to Derrick Henry. Tannehill's big play, the 69-yard touchdown catch to A.J. Brown the first quarter, and let Derrick Henry do the rest. Now, Kyle, I know this was a huge game for the Colts at home because this they could have took the lead in the division. Is this alarming to see the Colts, who actually been playing really good defense all year, get eviscerated for 35 points in the first half by the Titans? Is that kind of heartbreaking if you're a Colts fan to see that?
Oh, of course it is. And next question you're going to ask is, do humans breathe oxygen? Absolutely. Yeah, no. If you're the Colts, that game was basically the key to you to upset some things, right? Because you don't have reliable at your quarterback position. Your defense is good, but you don't necessarily have reliable in your offensive production either. Some point you got to put points up there, I'll say this. With that division being what it is, for the Titans to have kept themselves from being swept and having all the elements that you stereotypically want in a air quotes champion style team, being a good supporting run game, a good they don't have a great defense, but I'll call it a GED, a good enough defense, and enough balance on offense, those elements there, that's a big deal.
And I'll be honest with you, Nyheim Hines only had 20. He led the Colts with 29 yards rushing. You're not going to beat the Titans if you're running the ball for 29 yards a game. There's no way. And to Mike mentioned DeForest Buckner. That's a huge point. But Derrick Henry is not no average running back. All right.
True, but I mean, you got to admit, Buckner is their mainstay in the middle of that line. And hey, he was present for the last game, and the Colts won. Coincidence? I think not. Right?
And the Raphael's point. I mean, Tannehill's nice. Tannehill's a very, very good. He's an outstanding game manager. And the thing is, Ryan Tannehill, he embraces being a game manager. He's very good at it. Mm-hmm. Now, do you want him throwing 60 passes in the game? Not every single week. But if he has to in a pinch, he can do it. A.J. Brown's turning into one of the better receivers in the league. But I'll tell you this:
but he's
one of the better receivers in the league. All right, yeah. I didn't say he was top tier or elite level receiver because he's not that. I don't think he's still better than DK Metcalf at this point, and they were college teammates. All right,
he's up there. Love. Oh, this guy.
Listen, Metcalf is using his inner Terry Metcalf in one person. There's only one Metcalf, and he's the Voltron of Metcalfs. All right.
Voltron of Metcalf.
All right. Speaking of putting things together, the Miami Dolphins had to put together a quarterback situation after Tua Tagovailoa was deemed out with an injury, and guess who came back into play? Ryan Fitzpatrick. All right, the Dolphins won 20-3, but they played the New York Jets, okay? This doesn't count as a win for the Dolphins because they played the New York Jets. The Jets are now 0-11, and the real question is, Kyle, do the Jets get to 0-16 at this point?
You have to think so, don't you? I mean, seriously, like the AFC East, every team except for the Patriots and the Jets looks better. So, I mean, half the division looks better, right? And actually, I can make an argument that the Patriots, compared to their expectations, are doing better than they were expected to. So the only team falling below expectations, that could probably be the Jets. Yeah, see? You know.
Mike, if we want to compare numbers between A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf, I will do that. Give me 1 moment.
Yeah, well, but let's look at the numbers can also lie as well. Let's be careful here, folks.
Okay, no. We'll do this. The Jets' final 5 games, Kyle. Can you see a win in any of these games?
Okay.
The Raiders?
No.
After Sunday, the Raiders?
No, they had a bad outing against the Falcons.
Okay. We're good. No, don't worry. I'll get to that in a second.
Oh, I'm sure you will. It's your one thing other than your proposal that you're excited about, even more than Thanksgiving, I might add.
I hate you, by the way. All right. The Seattle Seahawks.
No. As much as you may think it will happen, no.
At the LA Rams.
No, even with this past weekend's events, no.
Home for the Cleveland Browns.
I mean, listen, as much as I want to talk trash on the Browns, there's a line. LA Browns be coming out the way. What'd you say, Cam?
And they end the season with the New England Patriots.
I mean, say what you will. If there's a win to be had, it is that final week. But I don't think so.
Listen, Kyle, I think to me, if it's any week, it's actually, I want to say it's the Cleveland Browns game. Because you look at I'll tell you the reason. And here's the reason why. Here's the reason why I say that game. If you look at the quarterbacks on the schedule, the weakest of the 5 quarterbacks on that schedule is Baker Mayfield. If anybody can cause a team to lose a game, it's Baker Mayfield. Not saying now if Kevin Stefanski decides to give Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt the ball and tell Baker to only throw the ball on screens and checkdowns, okay, then they'll win the game. But if Baker goes Baker, you don't know what you're getting. At least with Cam Newton, even though Newton is not very accurate, I think he completed like 9 passes against the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. Cam can still beat you with his feet, and he's still bigger than 2/3 of your defense anyway. So if he has to run for a couple extra yards, try to tackle him in the open field. It ain't easy. All right. I'm not saying the Browns are the logical target, but out of the other 5 teams, the Browns might be the only one. But how ironic would it be if Bill Belichick's season ends with his former employer beating him for their only win of the season and saving Adam Gase's job?
I mean, that's the storyline. First of all, he's not saving Adam Gase's job. Take a breath there. And listen, if it turns out it does, you can be like, you say it, Count. I'm like, yeah, I've said it. I'm sorry. Forgive my faith in humanity. but I the storyline, not just the former coach thing, and to be honest, yeah, I know you're right. I just forgot right then in that moment that that's the case. But the AFC East, the physics are always weird. We've had some garbage Dolphins teams upset Super Bowl caliber Patriots teams in the past. So there's that. I mean, that's why I have the Jets as being the most likely target. That's me.
All right. To go to Mike Patton's point on between A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf, we'll go here. Now, mind you, Metcalf has played essentially 2 more games. I'm not even counting. The numbers for DK Metcalf tonight does not count because it's not listed in the system. So it's 1 more additional game because A.J. Brown did miss 1 additional game. But if you look at the catches, Metcalf has him by 8. The yards, Metcalf has him, Kyle, by over 250 yards receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where it comes to big plays. Metcalf has got 14 compared to 8 for A.J. Brown. Metcalf also has 37 first downs to 30 first downs for A.J. Brown. Metcalf averages almost 87 yards a game to A.J. Brown's 70.9. I mean, you're talking about a big play threat down the field. When you're getting 14 play, basically, Kyle, he's averaging almost 1.5 big plays per game. And a big play is anything over 15 to 20 yards.
Whereas,
and Metcalf,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Kyle.
And Metcalf is getting that in the air. He's not beating people up and doing it with yak. That's coming from a high ball. Moreover, I would also feel compelled to point out 2 things in this conversation just to make it fair. A, Metcalf has a much better quarterback, but also Metcalf does not have a balanced offense for a play action option to open things up. So it's a very interesting conversation.
Well, it is an interesting concept. Like I said, because A.J. Brown doesn't have a Tyler Lockett on the other side to draw attention on the field.
Also correct.
And of course, and you don't have Russell Wilson at quarterback.
Carrington, you better put some respect on that beep name or I will end you, Danny Johnson.
Listen, right now, okay, Russell Carrington Wilson. We'll give him listen, all 3 quarterbacks in our MVP race will have their middle names. A go-to receiver averages more than 7 catches a game. Well, let's look at the numbers. Metcalf right now is at 4.8 per game, and A.J. Brown is less than 5. To Raphael's point of 7 catches a game, well, Raphael, here's the thing: only 2 receivers in the NFL, or 3 receivers in the NFL, are averaging 7 catches a game. That's only 3. So if that's considered a go-to guy, then we gotta fix this.
I think a go-to is, and yeah, that's the point I was making there too, Rodney. Well played. I think a go-to is more about situations than how many catches they have in a game. I mean, listen, you could speak for this, Danny. Julio Jones has gone certain games where he may not have had a catch, but because defenses are worried about him so much, the offense still has a prolific day, right?
I mean, Julio. If you look at Julio Jones' numbers, Kyle, here's the thing: Jones has missed
his numbers. I need that concept. I need that concept to say that the number of catches in a game don't necessarily mean that
you're a go-to guy.
Yeah,
because I mean, DeAndre Hopkins leads the NFL. Stephon Diggs leads the NFL with 80 catches. Mm-hmm. All right, and he's played 11 games.
You mean the offensive MVP of the Bucs, as I call him?
I mean, he could. But the thing is, I mean, when you say offensive MVP. I mean, that for a non-quarterback, I'm going to say non-quarterback because I think the MVP is going to be a quarterback. Sure. I don't know. Stephon Diggs only got in the end zone 4 times, Kyle.
And?
80, but we got 80 catches, only 4 touchdowns. It's kind of saying the same thing that people say about Julio Jones. When he gets a whole bunch of catches that don't get in the end zone.
But you're going to tell me that Julio Jones isn't the most valuable Falcon on offense? I can't sign off on that.
No, I'm not. We're talking about the most valuable offensive player in the league.
No, I meant on his team, bro.
Okay. No. Okay. I just want to make sure I'll make sure we're on the same page here.
Gotcha.
So we're looking at those numbers. Like 7 catches a game. That's kind of extreme. Tyreek Hill only got up there this week because of the fact that he caught 13 yesterday. Okay.
Is he a go-to?
Hey, Kyle, here's a question for you.
Sir.
I'm gonna ask you a trick question before we get back to the NFL. who has the most big plays this year in the NFL? Receiver.
Golly, this is this it's going to be something silly.
And this is catches and this is catches over 20 yards, and that's what's considered a big play.
Yeah, like it's going to be something silly, like DJ Moore or something like that. Like
DJ Moore he's tied for 7th actually with 14.
Oh, no kidding! Awesome. It's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a primary guy. Bobby, what you got?
Chase Claypool.
Maybe that's not a bad guess.
Kyle,
what you got, Danny?
Kyle, continue. I'm waiting for because Claypool is 30th in the NFL. Continue, Kyle.
Big plays. Brandon Ayuk. No. I know, right? I'm glad you laughed at that, and so you knew it was a joke. You got me on the spot, so I'm going to do it quickly. It's obviously not Stephon Diggs, or else you would have been like, yes, just like you said. Criminy. I'm going to go Devontae Adams.
Actually, Devontae Adams is only 16th in the NFL.
Damn.
In this category.
What do I know?
Yes. The guy who leads the NFL is the guy we're segueing next to. That's Justin Jefferson of the Minnesota Vikings.
No, okay. Oh, that makes sense, though. That makes sense.
He has 17 plays of over 20 yards of a catch this season. And guess what? He had another big play on Sunday as the Minnesota Vikings beat the Carolina Panthers 28-27 in a game where, guess what? The Carolina Panthers went Panther at the end of the game. It just so happened yesterday, Kyle, I got a story to tell on this one.
Please.
So yesterday afternoon, Kyle, I was having a conversation with Mr. Rodney Richardson of Under Construction. Check out their podcast on Sundays. And they're epic, and also Jamal Darby, who checked in earlier. I don't know if Kaz is on the show tonight, but check out those 3 guys on Sunday because their show yesterday, Kyle, was completely epic because it was crazy to see 3 Panther fans in the middle of basically a sad moment.
You're awful, Danny Thompson.
Bobby, cue up the cat, please.
Uh-oh. You should have known this was coming when there it is. You should have known that was coming when he said Panther fans, Bobby.
To see 3 sad Panther fans, because here's the thing, so Kyle, yes. Rodney calls me today, and we're chit-chatting yesterday. It was the 4th quarter of the Panthers game and the 4th quarter of the Falcons game, and he was like, you know what? Hey, congratulations on beating the Raiders this week. I said, timeout. Yeah, he's going to avoid this conversation here. You can go missing now because I'll come back and drag you later. So,
hey, but it's a thing to watch, General. It's a thing to watch.
So, Rodney's on my phone yesterday, and he was like, you know what? He's like, man, the Falcons are up big in the 4th quarter. I'm like, Kyle, I've seen enough of this. I said, I will discuss the victory when it's 0s on the clock.
Okay.
Rodney says, yeah, see, we don't have that problem because we don't do stuff like that. Come to find out 45 minutes later.
What happened?
And one Jamal Darby post later that he said it was the greatest hour in Charlotte history when he talked about the Panthers and the Panthers winning and leading, and also Nick Batum being released by the Panthers, by the Hornets, blew up in both their faces all of a sudden. Because as Rodney said this, Kirk Cousins drove down the field, and the best part about it was Cousins threw a touchdown pass to Chad Beebe, the same Chad Beebe who fumbled a punt on the 5-yard line earlier in the quarter.
Yes.
It was so bad. Yes, Carolina got 2 touchdowns from Jeremy Chin in the game in the 3rd quarter. Kyle, what NFL game have you ever seen a player get 2 defensive touchdowns in a 40-second span? You had the lead and you still lost.
I just want to say that Rodney's response was really funny, and we can move on, please.
Oh no, Rodney was like, "Yeah, this stuff don't happen to us."
Oh, Danny Thompson.
Kurt, the legend of Kirk Cousins rises again in Minnesota.
Let me help you. Let me help you with that laugh a little bit. It's got to be a little bit more Dr. Evil. That's it.
The only thing I will say before I transition is one word, Kyle. You know what that one word is?
Kittens?
Skull. All right. As I was saying.
Yes, I don't know.
Yes, he was. Don Beebe was a wide receiver return guy for the Panthers. Yes.
No kidding.
Chad Beebe defeated by his daddy's former football team because the Panthers just went Panther. And guess what? You still are terrible enough and still no, Teddy B's not going to be fine. Teddy B was awful yesterday. Don't let those numbers fool you. 1936 with 267. Teddy Bridgewater is not going to win you a game in the fourth quarter, and we've seen enough of this from Teddy Bridgewater.
He's had some moments to keep him in the game, but at day's end,
Kyle, Rodney's team is the Carolina Catastrophes, Raphael. The Carolina Catastrophes.
You just abandoned kittens, did you? Okay. I mean,
the Carolina Cat. No, the Carolina Catastrophes, Kyle.
Oh,
the Catastrophes.
Now the puns are bad. I blame you, Rodney.
Listen, Kyle, you're up 24-21. Hey, listen. You saw the fourth quarter yesterday. Kyle, there's no way, if I'm Matt Rule, that we're on the 5-yard line with a chance to put this game away, and you could not get 5 yards. You could not get 5 yards in the end zone.
That's a fair criticism.
I know he don't have Christian McCaffrey, but Mike Davis can run over people.
Yes, he can.
Okay. Teddy Bridgewater can actually roll out of the pocket. Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore are actually decent wide receivers. They're actually one of the better duos in the NFL, surprisingly for those who don't pay attention to the NFL. All right.
Reverse Falcon.
Falcon punch.
I would not look up what a reverse Falcon is in Urban Dictionary. It just sounds like it would go to a bad place. Let's move on.
Listen, but Carolina should have given the ball to Mike Davis. They should have found some kind of way. There's no way that they should have let that you muff a punt and you can't take advantage of it. If Carolina gets in the end zone, Kyle, it's 31-21. And the other part is Minnesota will have no timeouts left at that point. Well, Kirk Cousins basically made Vikings fans very happy with themselves and kept himself in the playoff chase with the victory on Sunday. Speaking of teams trying to fight for their playoff lives, the New England Patriots are still fighting for their playoff lives. Listen, in a game that was completely oogly.
Yes, it was.
Oogly. Listen, Nick Folk hit a 50-yard field goal, Kyle, to keep the New England Patriots from taking down your Arizona Cardinals 20-17 at home on Sunday afternoon. Listen, when I say it was ugly, Cam Newton threw for 84 yards. And listen, the Patriots had 179 yards in the game on total offense, Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
25 minutes of possession time, and they still won the game.
Listen, here's what you attribute this to. If you look at Bill Belichick, the one thing he has prowess and talent against is young quarterbacks. And I have said my praises about the kid they call Special K and Kyler Murray. There's a reason why we don't evoke his middle name yet, is because there are moments when things get shut down. And that is what it is. I'm not trying to say he's a bad player. I'm just trying to say the chess game was won by one Bill Belichick. That's just the facts of the case, in my opinion. And listen, credit to Cam for coming up with the plays to set up the field goals, I should say. I think he had 2 interceptions within a day, like you mentioned, throwing for under 100 yards. That's not a good.
9 completions.
Yeah, 9 completions. Moreover, I mean, so listen, I've been supportive of Cam and the Patriots' efforts. I've been one to defend the fact that they haven't had much practice time with all the COVID stuff went down and all that situation happened, but. That wasn't the case here for the offense, at least as such as my understanding. At the day's end, sometimes defense just wins the damn game, man.
And the crazy thing is, the Patriots had 179 yards total offense, not 100 yards, not even 100 yards passing. They had 69 total because of sacks. They lost the turnover battle, lost the time possession battle, and still won the game. And it's very rare to see that in the NFL. It just barely happens.
To Kyler Murray's defense, he did his part to make sure his kicker had a shot to win the game, and there was a shankopotamus there. But, I mean, when you leave the game in the hands of kickers, that's the stuff that happens sometimes, man. It sucks, but that's a fact.
Speaking of leaving the game in certain hands, the Jacksonville Jaguars let their game in the hands of Mike Glennon yesterday. Yeah. And listen, for as much crap as I give Baker Mayfield played a good game yesterday against the Jacksonville Jaguars. 19-29, 258 yards. 2 touchdown passes. And listen, Jarvis Landry had his best game of the season. He finally found the end zone, Kyle. But What did we say earlier? How do the Browns win? It's by running the football.
Correct.
Nick Chubb had 144 yards on the ground, including a touchdown. And Kyle, they also have a guy named Kareem Hunt who got 62 yards on the ground. The Browns ran for 207 yards against a beleaguered, maligned, and torn apart Jacksonville defense. Listen, Kyle, we just said it earlier. When it comes to if Baker Mayfield doesn't have to make plays like this, Kyle, he only threw 29 times. The Browns ran the ball 33 times. Mm-hmm. This should be the ratio going forward, and this is why Kevin Stefanski's offense has always worked. It was mostly a run-heavy offense, especially in Minnesota with Dalvin Cook and when they had Latavius Murray. They had a run-first offense with passing being secondary. If Mayfield is a secondary passer, Jarvis Landry and those guys can make plays. Now, the interesting part is only Landry had 11 targets. No other player on the Browns only had 3.
Mm-hmm. Let me clarify something. Did you just compare Baker Mayfield to Case Keenum?
Listen, if he's Baker Mayfield needs to be a game manager at this point. I don't want Baker Mayfield in a shootout with anybody. This is not Oklahoma. This is not a Big 12 defense he's playing against.
Right. Okay. I agree. Listen, you got to take him away from the position. We know by trade he's a gunslinger. That's what you do when you play in the Big 12 in college. Usually, is you're a gunslinger. You're not a tactician. You're not a game manager. You're just flinging the ball all over the damn field. But I agree with you. That gunslinging stuff that won in college will not, without a better. Not to say that the Browns defense is bad, but it will not win the AFC North, in my opinion. He's got to become a game manager. You're 100% correct. And
the other part is the Browns are going to have to get more pressure on the quarterback because I'll tell you this, Mike Glennon is back there, okay? Mm-hmm. Mike Glennon, the same Mike Glennon that started in Tampa, the same Mike Glennon that started in NC State. I think he was under 500 as a quarterback, I want to say, NC State.
I believe he was with the Raiders as well at one point when they were struggling.
End of the day, the Browns only had they only hit him twice. 2 quarterback hits recorded and no sacks yesterday. You got to pressure the quarterback.
Yeah, his jersey's got to get dirtier. I agree.
Mike Glennon had a quarterback rating of 97 yesterday, Kyle. 90-freaking-7.
If you're the Browns, you worry about that. I'm with you.
Like you got to get that. You got to get that fixed.
Yeah.
Speaking of things getting fixed, I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you what's not getting fixed is Jacksonville's general manager situation. Happy trails. Happy trails to Dave Caldwell, who was officially fired yesterday as Jacksonville Jaguars general manager. The problem is Doug Marrone is still the head coach, and he'll be the head coach for the foreseeable future. AKA, this man's going to be riding this ship until we get to 1-15. Hi, Trevor Lawrence. Hi, Justin Fields. We're taking a quarterback. That's all I'm saying. All right. Speaking of things going down in flames yesterday, well, we had a team travel cross country yesterday. The team that will not have a city name because it's now considered nameless because they've had more cities than Kardashians have had NBA players. The insert your city here Raiders traveled to Atlanta yesterday. Traveled to Atlanta yesterday to play the Atlanta Falcons, who were missing all-pro wide receiver Julio Jones and their starting running back Todd Gurley. Mm-hmm. Going into the game, Matt Ryan has a fantasy quarterback rating, Kyle. He has been a quarterback 25, 26, and 24 or 27 in games where Julio Jones has either missed or Julio Jones got injured in the game. So Raider fans were expected to go into Atlanta knowing that they were going to have a field day with Matt Ryan. What they really forgot to realize was there was an actual football. It was. An actual football game actually happened, and the Raiders needed to do something yesterday. Younghoe Koo, who now leads the NFL in field goals this year, knocked in a few field goals himself. He knocked in, 5 field goals yesterday. The Falcons got a defensive touchdown from the Atlanta Falcons. Deion Jones interception return. Listen, the most talented defensive player got a 6-7-yard touchdown return. The Atlanta Falcons went in and punched the insert your city here Raiders 43-6 at home. And the Falcons actually the Falcons played their most complete game of the year. Now, Matt Ryan
without 2 of their best weapons. That's the part I can't get past.
Listen, Matt Ryan only threw for 185 yards. Yes, he had an interception, but he had 2 touchdown passes. Calvin Ridley only had 50 receiving yards and a touchdown. The Falcons duo at running back yesterday of Ito Smith and Brian Hill combined for 120 yards on the ground. Here is the problem I have with this. The Falcons, who have not been really good at rushing the passer, got to the quarterback all day yesterday. All right, Kyle. There were a grand total. The Falcons sacked Raider quarterbacks because it got so bad. Nathan Peterman jumped in the game. 5 sacks on the defense and held the Raiders to 40 yards rushing yesterday. I don't know what the Falcons were watching yesterday, but you might keep on continue to watch this under Raheem Morris. But and even better news. Hi, Manny. Our good friend James Manny Robinson, our official Raiders fan. Oh, don't go missing, Manny, because I'm gonna start tagging you this in a few minutes. So, because the Falcons going down and smacking the the name your city Raiders, he owes me a bottle, and I will be collecting.
Right, I remember that.
And I will be collecting. All right, and Kyle, you know what? I'm gonna be collecting. And once it gets here, I'll drink on the show as we show the Falcons and Raider highlights on the side panel.
They could lose to the Bucks like 59-2. Doesn't matter. Got the bottle. Woo!
I'm gonna need the bottle for 59-2.
You probably would. You're right. Different topic.
Speaking of teams needing a bottle, listen. If anybody needed a bottle yesterday, it was Sean McVay yesterday. Listen.
As a 49ers fan, you're damn right.
Sean McVay has somehow got the worst luck against the San Francisco 49ers he could possibly find. All right. The 49ers, who have struggled all season, Nick Mullins did not have his best game of the season yesterday. They still can't find ways to run the football. And I'll tell you, Deebo Samuel was really good yesterday. He was really good yesterday.
He was, but let's be a little bit fair, my good friends. The 49ers were harassed constantly in the backfield by one Aaron Donald. Sir, you put some respect on that large man's name. It was less about the Niners doing bad in certain spots as him making mistakes happen. Remember that.
It just seems like the 49ers are Sean McVay's kryptonite. Like, to Mike Patton's point, the Rams had lost 5 straight to the 49ers. Yeah. That's the span of almost 3 full years. It's just like Jared Goff turns into the pumpkin from Cinderella against the 49ers. He had costly turnovers, bad throws. Well, Raphael makes a point. The 49ers would be a problem. The only thing is, can they just do it consistently? Can they put 2 and 3 games back to back together? That's what they haven't done. They haven't consistently played a stretch of games like they did last year to get themselves in it.
Yeah,
they got to find consistency.
They don't have enough firepower, I think. I mean, listen, I appreciate the optimism there, Contra, but at the end of the day, I don't see that table run happening, man. That's a little tall for me.
Listen, they got Monday night's game against at home for the Bills. Well, technically it's not a home game anymore because the Niners have no more home games because they've been moved to Glendale.
Correct.
Because Santa Clara County is saying nothing when it comes to COVID. No tackle. Yeah. They gotta move to Glendale for the next month.
All contact sport, for the record.
So the next 2 games, which are crucial games at home for Washington and Buffalo, have to be moved to Glendale. Games that you definitely need to win at home, you can't do it. And Kyle, Cowboys, Cardinals, and Seahawks are the final 3 games after the Washington and Buffalo games. San Francisco is going to have to win 4 of those 5 games.
They will not.
Yep.
Because I know 2 games, 3 games now. The Bills, The Bills is one they can win, but if Stephon Diggs blows open 2 big plays for touchdowns or just 1, that's going to be problematic. The Niners always play the Seattle Seahawks tight, so you really don't know what to expect from that. But I'm still inclined to pick Russell Carrington Wilson in this particular instance, especially with their defense upgraded with Dunbar and Jamal Adams in play. Then you have, on top of that, the Cardinals, bro. Arguably the best offensive unit in skill position in the conference, if not the league. And you expect me to pick the Niners to beat that? As I said, they just don't have the firepower offensively to compete if the defense has just a bit of imperfection.
And, it's just, if the Niners can somehow find consistency and I'm not sure when George Kittle is due back in the lineup. If he is due back in all the season, you've got to find playmakers. Deebo Samuel was really good. And, they got him in space yesterday. He had a huge game with receptions, but man, they got to find something. You got to have more than Deebo Samuel. They need George Kittle, and I mean, they need George Kittle like now. That's the only.
I believe Kittle is done for the year. I could be wrong there, but I'm not going to argue with you. Like Mullins, Brandon Ayuk, and Samuel being your three guys, that's tough.
And Ayuk is still out due to COVID. He was out again yesterday.
Correct. Yes. I mentioned it because he's not done for the year with an ACL or anything like that.
Speaking of the Buffalo Bills, the Bills were the last game on the week before we talk about the Seahawks and the Eagles. Bills took care of business 27-17 over the Los Angeles. I keep wanting to say San Diego. The Los Angeles Chargers at home. Yes, there were tables being broken everywhere in Buffalo. Listen, it wasn't Josh Allen's prettiest game of the year, 18-24 with a touchdown and interception, but it was the Bills were sloppy. And they just capitalized on mistakes in the game. And Tre'Davious White had a humongous fourth quarter interception, which led to a field goal to put the game away. Kyle, the Bills had 3 turnovers. They got outgained. You can't play like this if you're going to beat teams like San Francisco. If you're going to continue to try to make a deep run in the playoffs. I mean, Kyle, can you really say?
There's a reason why that quarterback they have over there in Los Angeles. Not named Goff, I might say. Good to talk at you there, General. Not named Goff, I might say. More specifically, one Mr. Justin Herbert. There's a reason why he's in my top 10 among NFL quarterbacks right now. You make mistakes against him in his offense, he will make you pay for it because he knows how to hit Keenan Allen in just the right space.
Listen, the Chargers got back Austin Eckler yesterday in a huge way.
I like him too, yeah.
He's finally back in the game. Can you imagine what the Chargers like with a healthy Austin Eckler now? Kyle, 11 catches for Austin Eckler yesterday, 85 receiving yards. He also had 45 yards on the ground. He says his first game back after a serious ankle injury. And listen, it opened the offense up. Now, you did mention Keenan Allen. Allen had 4 catches yesterday, but he was targeted 10 times. But Kyle, Herbert threw 52 times in the game and was targeted 16 times to Austin Eckler yesterday. Jeez.
Hey, what they tried to do was take away that best player, and they may have, but they forgot that he knows how to distribute the football, apparently, as a young man.
Listen, Gabriel Davis, former UCF wide receiver, 3 catches, 79 yards, another touchdown
for
Cole
him yesterday, I might add.
From Cole Beasley. He helped your fantasy football team play him yesterday because he threw a touchdown pass yesterday, Kyle. So that is our NFL segment. You know what? And we got the Monday night game going on. I know this is a game that most people aren't really concerned about, but the Seattle Wilsons are ahead of the Philadelphia. I'm gonna call them the Philadelphia National Red Cross, the Philadelphia Red Crosses, 17-9, early part of the fourth quarter. Kyle, in the game, Russell Wilson, 20-26, 192 yards, and a touchdown pass in the game to David Moore, and our touchdown run from Chris Carson. Carson Wentz, Kyle, 16-28 for only 99 yards. And a touchdown pass to Dallas Goedert.
The Seattle Carringtons are legitimate.
Listen, the Philadelphia Eagles only have 145 yards total offense in 3+ quarters.
That's insane. That defense isn't that good with Adams and Dunbar. I'm just saying.
Listen, I don't know what to say in this situation, Kyle, because it's not exactly the most. What's that word? I mean, it's not been pretty. Jalen Hurts has seen some action today, Kyle. He completed a pass for 6 yards.
There you go. Hey, I said they should give him some chance to look at some stuff, man. Anyway, hey, enough of that.
You know what, Kyle? You know what we can never get enough of?
Everybody's favorite national monument, baby. Boom.
Yes, Mount Rushmore. It's time for me and Kyle's favorite show. The segment of the show is called Mount Rushmore. For those who've never watched this show, and Hunter, I'm speaking to you because you're in the back area. Don't worry, I didn't forget about you, by the way. This is a segment of the show, and me and Kyle kind of take the gloves off for a minute or two, and we have a healthy. And then, Kyle, this is the first time in a week we have not done the Patrick Mahomes Russell Wilson debate. We didn't debate this week because
Rusty didn't play, and your boy Patrick LaVon Mahomes too It's not that I dislike him as a quarterback, man. He did a great job and he even ran the ball smartly on what would be the game's final true offensive play by sliding before going out of bounds after he got the first down. Excellent play by a brilliant young quarterback who is worth $500 million.
And will win his second MVP award. But back to Mount Rushmore.
Only if injustice is truly a thing. What happens when I get an olive branch? Hey, how about your team, wins a significant game rather than a mishappened Raiders team? Just saying. You couldn't beat the Rams.
Hell, the hell you say? I got a bottle out of this, so it's significant to me. All right, so
damn, that's a good point. I can't argue that, Trav.
I got a bottle of somebody else's dime that I'll be drinking on this show and tagging him in every photo. And I'm be drinking in my Falcons mug too.
Let's get the damn Rushmore going. What have I done?
So what me and Kyle do is we take a topic and we discuss our Mount Rushmore, which are top 4 on different topics that we do. And sometimes it's sports, sometimes it's not. And me and Kyle discuss everything from food to sports to everything in between. But Kyle, tomorrow is now December 1st.
Yes.
And in the year of COVID, in the year of 2020, this thing is almost over. The year's almost over. But in a multitude of ups and downs, and Kyle, after we put the turkey away, on Thanksgiving, and we start looking towards the next big holiday, and it's Christmas.
Yes, it is.
Yay for Christmas. So, Kyle, as we all know, every single television channel, Kyle, plays Christmas movies.
They do.
So, Kyle, tonight's Mount Rushmore topic is the Mount Rushmore of Christmas movies. And Kyle,
boy.
And here's the thing, Kyle. If you want to include off-the-wall movies that only have Christmas tree, they're only set during Christmas, it counts.
Oh, see, I know you're saying that, but I will not accept your contingency for certain people who are going to make the retarded mistake of trying to tell me that freaking Die Hard's a Christmas movie. It's not a Christmas movie! You damn fool. I knew you were doing that.
It was a trap.
Trap? Shoot, I didn't need the Admiral to see that ish. Anyway, because you made that rule, I will not oppress you or anybody else that makes this horrible error, but I will maintain my classic honor and proceed thus. First of all, if we're talking Christmas movies, listen, the movie that I think is the most heartwarming while also capturing the nuisance of the season in true comedy, nothing beats the Lampoons doing their work, Chevy Chase and Company in Christmas Vacation. Hashtag I said it. If you do not have it in your Mount Rushmore, what is wrong with you? Apparently your beat is full. Anyways, next up, it gets a little tougher because a lot of these can go a lot of ways. For me, I'm not necessarily somebody that embraces the movie Elf. That doesn't do it for me. I know some people dig Will Ferrell. I don't oppress you for liking it. That's just not my particular bag. One guy I do like is a celebration of everybody's jolly Saint Nick himself, Santa Claus, doing his thing. And what other movie does it more funny and more creatively than Disney's The Santa Claus with Tim Allen? That's a good time all the way around. I enjoy that thoroughly. Just so I can get some classic movie fare. And listen, there's only 1 or 2 scenes that do it for me. But for me, and I shouldn't say do it for me, but put this in the Mount Rushmore. There's 2 or 3 scenes that I pick out from this movie, which is pretty good, but that have struck my memory even decades later. And one in particular being the bags and bags and bags of letters taken into the courtroom during the original Miracle on 34th Street. And listen, folks, if it's not in black and white, it ain't all right. Okay, this remake was trash. There's Santa in it was good, granted, but I mean, put it this way: how often do you get to see Kris Kringle bop a dude on the head and serve some justice? It doesn't happen like that in any other movie. I'm going to give a good honorable mention to Jingle All the Way.
No, there's no honorable mention, Kyle. What's the 4th one, Kyle? You can't do honorable mention. Okay, because there's so many movies and we got 2 other people on this, we'll do honorable mention that to everybody else goes.
Oh no, I'm doing that to lead it into my 4th one.
Okay.
Honorable mention will be Jingle All the Way. I don't have bravery to put it in place, but I'm going to go ahead simply because you can't detach the movie from the season. I'm going to go ahead and go with It's a Wonderful Life. I know that some people will pick A Christmas Story instead. That's their right, but that's where I sit. So It's a Wonderful Life, Christmas Vacation, Santa Claus, and Miracle on 34th Street. Danny Thompson.
Bobby, what you got, my friend?
This is kind of tough because well, to me,
Die Hard's coming. Die Hard's coming.
Oh, I know. You're a heretic.
Not coming. Christmas Vacation is definitely a must-see every year, like what Kyle said. I happen to be a huge Elf fan. I think Elf is funny, and that was when Will Ferrell was funny, by the way. He's not funny anymore. I would have to go with. Are we including like the Rudolphs and the Frosty little TV shows?
You can count. You can count them. If it's a movie, it's a movie. You can count it.
All right, it's gotta be. All right, you gotta watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the cartoon. That's just like that kind of comes out early in the season and gets everything kicked off. Oh, I'm missing one now. Which one I'm missing?
I mean, with Rudolph, it's okay. It's just dated like Heather Locklear and Melrose Place in the 90s, man. That's all I'm saying.
It's just I guess it's like tradition again.
That face she made, Danny Thompson. Someone liked my analogy. Moving on.
Oh, if you haven't seen it yet, what is very, 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 very good, it's on Netflix. I think it's called The Christmas Chronicles.
That thing is vying for becoming a classic. I know my daughter loves it.
Came out last year. I think last year, 2 years ago.
Correct.
I think it's the second one now. I think it's the second version, second part 2 this year.
With Goldie Hawn as Mrs. Claus, yes.
It was surprisingly very good. A lot of like innuendos you think about an adult view of Christmas kind of mixed in. So I thought Christmas Chronicles was very, very good on Netflix. That's my 4.
And Bobby is our new producer Hunter, my good friend. For those who've never seen the show, welcome Hunter Mentic on the show. Woo! Hunter is from John Haney Country, representing the Temple Owls. Yes. So Hunter, this is your basically introduction to Beyond the Buzzer. So what is your Mount Rushmore of Christmas movies?
So
go ahead, my friend.
I heard you start with Christmas Vacation, and that's a classic. My whole family's we watch that every year. We just actually watched it the other day. That's our go-to. I don't think I heard you guys mention Home Alone, but I put Home Alone.
You were doing so well.
Yeah, I like it. I haven't seen as many probably Christmas movies as you guys have, because I'm 18.
What are you trying to say, Hunter?
Go ahead, Hunter, before I go ahead and discuss your list, because we're going to see what an 18-year-old opinion of Christmas movies compared to some. A few guys have a little more seasoned and gray hair. But continue, my friend.
So I'd probably put those two. Those two are probably my top 2. And then my next 2, I'd have to put Elf. That's a classic for me and my friends. And then the last one, I've been in 2 plays in my life, and it was A Christmas Carol and A Christmas Story. And A Christmas Story, it's a classic. It's one of my favorite movies ever. So that's probably my Mount Rushmore.
Didn't say Die Hard. Thank you.
Listen, it's funny how Hunter's list is better than yours, Kyle. All right,
it's funny how I already know it's better than yours, fool. Bring it.
You haven't even heard my list yet.
And I still know.
All right, so listen, I don't have a Christmas Vacation as number 1 on my list because A Christmas Story is number 1 on my list. All right.
Yeah, that's probably a top 2 for me.
Listen, you got 3 damn networks playing this thing for 24 consecutive hours on Christmas. Okay. All right. The whole Turner
life too, though, right? I mean,
no. The Turner family plays this movie on TBS, TNT, and probably True TV for 24 consecutive hours on Christmas. Okay. Anytime a whole block of networks ran by Ted Turner, God rest his soul, plays a movie for 24 consecutive hours. And the thing is, it starts at different times, which makes it even better. Right. It's like sectioned off every hour. So just in case you might have missed the part where Ralphie might have knocked the things out of his hand, and he said, "Oh, fudge," and it really was no fudge, or you saw him beat up the bully, or the fact that he wore the pink Easter bunny suit at Christmas. Classic.
Can't forget about
that's number 1 on my list.
Can't put his arms down in oatmeal.
Oatmeal. Damn it, I hate oatmeal for a long time. And the taste of Palmolive sounds real minty this time of year. All right. Number 2, yes, Christmas Vacation's on there. It just seems like every National Lampoon movie that has Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo are always classics. That dynamic of those two as parents are freaking amazing. All right,
Damn, Sparky.
Exactly. I think their chemistry makes it way better. I think it makes the movies even better because Summer Vacation might be one of my top 5 all-time favorite movies of all time. Them going to Wally World was even, yes. So that's number 2 on my list. All right. Hunter has a great point. You can't have Christmas at Home Alone. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
You can't have Christmas without Macaulay Culkin walking around with a damn rifle at 9 years old. Okay, shooting bad guys with BB guns. Okay,
It's a classic.
Ralph,
when you have
A, B, let's be clear about something. What makes that movie great is the damn soundtrack. I'm just saying.
which one? Home Alone.
Home Alone absolutely has a great musical score behind it.
But the fact of Joe Pesci and Dale Stern as the Wet Bandits. Come on, listen. What dumbass criminal gang decides to rob a house and decides to leave the water faucet on to cause a flood in the house?
Listen, you keep that Joe Pesci role. I'm going to stick with Vincent LaGuardia Gambini, sir. Moving on.
Listen, now one movie that none of the 3 of y'all mentioned is one of my favorite movies is A Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh yes,
That's a fact. Wait. Over Disney's Christmas Carol? You gonna put that over Scrooge McDuck? For real?
Here's the thing. Here's the reason why I did it. Because while both of them are classic movies, Muppet Christmas Carol was the last movie that Jim Henson did before he died.
I mean, that sucks, but like we gonna fight, man. Listen,
listen.
Here we go, man.
But this was the last Muppet movie that he had his hands on.
Yeah.
Okay, that he died during pre-production of this movie, so this has a more of a nostalgic feel. Plus the fact that it was really well written, and I love the Muppets. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Disney's version with Scrooge McDuck. You know, that's a phenomenal version of the movie. But I think because you tie in the fact of Jim Henson and his death involved in that, it's the same thing when you watch the Marvel movies, and the last one that Stan Lee did. Yeah, it was the one that breaks your heart the most. You know, he went. You know, the Avengers movie was the last one. So, listen, Rodney's right. What the hell was the dad doing at Home Alone?
He wasn't the mob. He was just the mob's banker.
Hold on. Rodney actually is he's correct, because that same actor played in The Sopranos 20 years later, 15 years later.
Listen, but here's the question. What the hell? I mean, that's one of the most unsolved mysteries about movies nowadays. What the hell was the Home Alone dad doing? Not only do you understand how much it costs to go to Paris for 2 people? He took the whole damn family to Paris.
Well, no, I can answer for that. He was either in politics or he was some sort of a financial planner, okay? And he didn't pay for any of that. He got it through hookups, folks.
I don't give a damn what he did. The fact of this man took a whole family to freaking Paris. And not to mention not the family, he flew the relatives and the in-laws.
I mean, because Uncle Frank didn't pay for any of that.
Hell no, Uncle Frank didn't chip in for the damn pizza. Cheap ass.
But no, he's down on Uncle Frank.
I mean, listen, man. Uncle Frank treated Kevin like a field for his terrible nephew. I don't know, but those are my 4 honorable mention. Elf is up there. Mm-hmm. Now I left the cartoon movies out. Rudolph and Charlie Brown and Frosty. I left those out. I was never going to consider Die Hard a Christmas movie because it's not one. And yes, if anybody listen. Here's the thing. If Die Hard's a Christmas movie, so is Eyes Wide Shut.
I was going to say Gremlins, but damn, you took it there. You're about to be a married man. I don't think she wants to know you've seen that film, son.
Listen, if Die Hard's considered a Christmas movie, so is Eyes Wide Shut, and so is Gremlins. Okay? I mean, because just because it was set at Christmas, don't make it a Christmas movie. Just because you see a damn tree in the movie doesn't count for anything. That's all I'm saying. All right. So, Hunter, before you go, like I said, we'll probably see more of you on this show because you'll be basically Hunter's one of our new producers of the show, and Hunter's also a college student.
Actually, Hunter's going to be a show host himself.
Yeah,
nice.
Well, so you know what? I'm gonna let Hunter take the floor. Hunter, take about 45 seconds. Introduce yourself to the entire public, and let them know who you are and where they can find your work and everything else. Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, my name's Hunter Metnick. Currently, I am a freshman at Temple University. If anyone knows anything about rowing, I am the coxswain of the crew team.
Ah, cool.
So, yeah, we have, unfortunately, our season was a little bit delayed because of coronavirus this season, but spring season, we've got a couple of big races coming up. Hopefully, we'll be in the IRAs and competing big time. I'm going to be writing articles on I-95 for the Temple men's basketball team, covering them after every game, their signings and everything. And I also have a podcast with my buddy on YouTube called MVP Podcast. We talk about, it's just an NBA podcast. We recently just discussed the draft, free agency. We got another one coming out tomorrow. So yeah, it's great to be on here. Thank you guys.
If only there was somebody knowledgeable on this show that could guess for him on the NBA.
Listen, like I said, we want to welcome Hunter to the I-95 family. Pretty soon, his show, the MVP podcast, will be on with the rest of the wonderful shows of the network. And like I said, we'll see Hunter from time to time. Some nights he'll be taking over for Bobby, maybe even exceeding Bobby. So you like Jake Crew, get it. Rodney, your jokes are about as bad as the damn Clemson mascot, okay?
He was just trying to demonstrate that to Hunter so he knew what our local troll would offer. That's all.
Almost. See, Friday After Next, Rodney, that was a good one too, though. Friday After Next was definitely honorable mention. Bad Santa, that was a bad movie. All right,
touching as hell.
Hunter, do you have a Twitter handle or any other handles?
Yeah, people can follow you on? Hunter Metnick. I believe it's Hunter21 Metnick on Twitter. iHunter with 3 R's on Instagram, and just Hunter Metnick on YouTube. So yeah. Thank you.
Boom.
That's our good friend Hunter Metnick making his debut on Beyond the Buzzer, and we'll see Hunter around pretty soon. Hunter, we'll also talk college hoops one night on the show. We can get your insights on Temple and the Big Five up in Philadelphia.
Perfect. Thank you.
Bobby, any shout-outs before you go, my friend?
This is like a weekly drama thing. I'll be on the air this week. I did my test on Friday,
and this time I mean it.
It's not organic. And we'll talk all about that.
All right, cool.
Bobby is our resident host, and he runs I-95 Sports. We're waiting for his debut show, the Bobby Blackjack show, to be happening very soon on the I-95 network. Kyle, any shout-outs, shot-ats, or anything? I got that from Under Construction, by the way, as Jamal would say.
Oh, he's got the precious approval. Congratulations, young Hunter. That's what's up. It took me weeks to get that. I'm saying, listen, I mean,
Kyle, she's more than cooking macaroni and cheese at this point. What the hell are you talking about?
No. It's a mountain I've climbed. I'm happy. No, don't get it twisted. I'm giving Hunter his props. This isn't about me. Don't make this about me. Listen.
But Kyle, is about you. So what are your shout-outs for the week, my friend?
That's a good point. So first off, I want to officially declare that it is now okay to play Christmas music. You are free and clear. Thanksgiving has happened. Thank you to Danny Thompson for not picking Die Hard as a Christmas movie. And on top of all that, thank you, as always, to Bobby Blackjack for doing a fantastic show. The reason why he may not have aired a show yet is because he's kicking so much butt on I-95. And thank you for the first of many, we hope, from Hunter Metnick and his support this evening. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, student of the game. You can find me on Twitter at the SOTG, just like you find in the corner there, except no space. Find me on Instagram as the same, the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as a student of the game. Check out my work with Hilarity by Default. We just did a required viewing on Rocky, so check that out. Some excellent points made and some fun had all the way around. Why you tilt your head like that, Danny Thompson?
I mean, I got to listen to this. I'm intrigued by Rocky. I want to hear this.
Well, how about you go to the Hilarity by Default YouTube page and look at the damn video? What about that? So, excellent handoff, my friend. Thank you. And of course, my work with oldschool101.com, and of course, the 3-point conversion, where I did a write-up of the most recent UCF victory, and there will be more to come starting next week on random topics because the regular season for UCF is over. So boom, Danny Thompson.
Big shout outs to everybody who tuned in the show tonight. The multitude of people that liked, shared, tagged the comments. You know, the usual crew every single week. We do appreciate that. We're very thankful for you guys. And yes, it is after Thanksgiving, so I can still say thankful because guess what? I'm the host of this show. Damn it! All right. Big shout outs to Bobby Blackjack in New Jersey for running the boards on the show. Big shout outs to Hunter for also he's also not just working with us, he's working beside us as well too. Always willing to help out young journalists. And at the same time, if you're a journalist and is looking for a home or looking for a place to develop your skills, by all means, hit up Bobby Blackjack and he'll definitely teach you the ropes. The man's been around this industry for a long time. Also, I could not do the show without my main man to the right of me, my main man, Kyle Nash, as he gives himself the salute because you deserve one Terrell Davis style. Also, like I said, all big shout outs.
That was for you, dog. Good.
I know, but you deserve yourself though. Big shout outs to every person that watches the show. And yes, by the way, starting tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Eastern, it will be my new show on the Haps TV app. By the way, download it as well too. Kyle, I know Bobby's on there. Kyle, you need to come in pretty soon. The Haps app as well too, because it is a show based upon the Charlotte Hornets, the team I cover for the 3pointconversion.com. And yes, Raphael, I got it right. The 3pointconversion.com. You can check out my NBA writing over there as well as my other works at the 3pointconversion.com. Check out this show every single Monday night. And yes, we're going back to 2 days a week after the holidays. Don't worry, you'll get to see me and Kyle's beautiful face twice a week, starting after the first of the year. Also, like I said, check out hapstv.com for my new show about the Charlotte Hornets called Let's Talk Hornets. It'll be on once a week. And tomorrow, Kyle, guess what? Tomorrow's the first day of training camp, so we'll get some stuff about training camp. And also, Gordon Hayward will be introduced to the Charlotte media tomorrow. I will be part of the press conference tomorrow, so I'll have some tidbits and topics to talk about as well, too. So, for myself, the student of the game, Bobby Blackjack up in New Jersey, Hunter in Philadelphia. So now we are technically the I-95 because it's on the damn corridor of I-95. I'm Danny Thompson. We'll check you guys out on Monday. Stay safe, and guess what? The Steelers game starts at 3:40 on Wednesday. Have a great evening. Stay safe. Peace.